Okay. Mrs. Laverty, I'm going to share my screen at this point. Are you able to keep an eye on the participants?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Okay, I think we will go ahead and get started. For those of you who, thank you all for joining us tonight. We're really excited. This is one of my favorite meetings of the year, when we welcome the current 8th graders and start getting ready to transition them into the high school. So we are excited about that, and thank you guys for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kara Prosuch. I am one of the high school counselors, and Mary Laverty is also with us. Mary, if you want to jump in.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all.
So it will be the two of us who will be meeting with your students individually over the next couple of days to do the scheduling for next year. And all of our contact information is readily available. If you guys have any questions or concerns whatsoever during this transition process, we're definitely looking forward to working with you guys to answer any of those questions. Okay.
We have already, just so some of you are aware, we have already today met with several classes of your students, and we'll be finishing that tomorrow. So your students are getting a very similar presentation, and so some of them may have already talked to you about some of the information that we presented to them today.
And I'd like to say hello as well. Mrs. Laverty and Mrs. Prosuch have asked myself. I'm Mr. Leon, for those of you that don't know. Hopefully you know me by now. Mr. Bell's here as well. So we're here to kind of help, answer some questions about the transition as well as your children leave the middle school and head towards the high school. But Mrs. Prosuch and Mrs. Laverty are going to do the majority of the talking here tonight. They're our experts.
And it just dawned on me that I didn't turn the chat room on. So I'm going to work on turning the chat room on while we get started. But Mr. Leon, if you wouldn't mind to start real quick and discuss a little bit about the strategic plan for the district.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, we've had this strategic plan for the last couple of years. It was a big effort when Mr. Wade was here, to talk to the community, to talk to the staff, to talk to the students, and really frame what we were doing as a school community. And everything revolves around this vision here, providing that personalized education for your students. It's a work in progress, as any strategic plan would be, but we're always trying to strive towards all 4 of our pillars in our strategic plan. So if you look here, the big ones that I think you guys, you're probably concerned about all of them as community members and parents, but I'm going to kind of go from right to left, ending with personalized learning, because I think that's probably the one that's most important to all of us, for our students and for your children. But we want to engage the community. We want to make sure that we are good stewards in the community and really talking and having a pulse on what's going on, because that helps us deal with situations as they come up with kids. Just in general, it helps keep our schools great, and that's what we want to do. So we look to unique opportunities with the business community in our area, really try to get our students out and exposed to those things. And we've been doing a lot these last 3 years, I guess 3 years or so, with our Pathways program. And, COVID has set us back a little bit, but we are going to continue to really try to push the envelope on that, to give our students the best experiences in all of Northeast Ohio, and hopefully on some levels the whole state and the whole country. So we want to hear not just from parents, but the entire Kirtland community. Beyond that, obviously it's important that we are, again, using the word stewards, good stewards of the finances. We need to make sure that we are spending the community's money appropriately, that we are trying to maximize what we have as a district to, again, keep us, at a high level, but also, be driving the narrative forward, never resting on our laurels, but being responsible while we do it. The next pillar over as we move to the left is safe and secure, and obviously that one's paramount to us. And that kind of has expanded. We've always seen it as not just like physical safety and wellness, but expanding the social emotional well-being. And with COVID, I think that the physical and the social emotional are even heightened now. So we take safety and security of our students very seriously. We want them to be safe when they come to school, whether that was before COVID, whether it's during COVID now, and hopefully pretty soon when we're past COVID. We want them physically to be safe, but even more importantly than that's very important. But even more importantly than that, we want their social emotional needs to be met. We want to make sure that they feel safe and secure. We're talking about young people who are growing and learning every day, and there's a lot going on there. And you guys, if you remember back to your own experiences, it can be a tumultuous time. These are young adolescent boys and girls who are going through a lot, but we want to make sure that we are trying to better train our staff, to be more responsive and to any kind of trauma that may have gone through a kid. And I think COVID is a great example of that. From our guidance counselors to our teachers to our janitors, it's important for all of us. So we're continuing to work on that. And I think when you look at the strategic plan, these are all goals that we think we do well, and we want to continue to get better. And if we don't do something well, we definitely want to try to shore that up ASAP. And then finally, the kind of pillar all the way to the left there is just the personalized, and again, that kind of connects with what I was talking about at the beginning with the engaged community, where we can find unique opportunities to give our students these experiences that they're not getting other places, that really drive their intellectual curiosity, that push them towards their passion. That's what we hope for these people, that they can make a living eventually out of their passion, and we help to light that fire. And in the middle school years, that's kind of a slow process. These kids are, they're just coming out of the elementary setting. They're just getting a little bit more used to the freedom. But as they get into high school, that becomes more and more paramount. We want to expose them to a variety of different aspects about the world around them, because kids can't go into something they don't know about. So we can't expose them to everything, but we want to try to give them tastes of lots of different things, and make them ready for the world around them. And obviously more and more that includes technology. I think that was something that was going to be true long before COVID, but I think that with this pandemic, that accelerates that, and we need to do so in a responsible way, teaching kids what's appropriate, how to use things responsibly and respectfully. And so that's really, I think the basis of everything we try to do here at the Kirtland Local Schools. So I'm sure that as Mrs. Prosuch and Mrs. Laverty and even Mr. Bell, when he chimes in here, I mean, everything that we're going to talk about in some way, in some small way, ties back to this.
Thanks, Mr. Leone.
Sure.
I'm going to get into a little bit about the one of the pillars. Part of it is our college and career pathways, and we started building this program, like Mr. Leone said, started the groundwork of it not too long ago, a couple of years ago. Last year, we really were able to start a launch of the program, and then a lot of it had to be scaled back this year, obviously, because of our situation. And so what we hope to do as your students move through the high school is to really help them to expand what they started in the middle school. And you may have seen or heard of a program that they use called Thrively. We will continue to work in Thrively. What that is a strengths-based program that focuses on kids' strengths and looks at where they would possibly like in terms of a career pathway, what they're interested in, looking at different opportunities that we have for bringing professional speakers in. We were able to do that last year, as well as getting the kids to go out into the community. We are always looking for places for our students to go in large groups, as well as on individual visits. So in the 9th and 10th grade, we hope that we will be able to again send our students out on some large group visits. Some of our students were able to visit Lubrizol and Lincoln Electric, Swagelok. We went on a college visit to Lake Erie College, And so really trying to get them to see what is out there in some different areas. We had some speakers come in from branches of the military, as well as, exercise science and some entrepreneurs. We had lawyers, we had DEA, so a whole range of different career pathways. And just building on those students' experiences, so by the end of high school, they have an idea maybe of what they thought was interesting, of what they really didn't like, because junior internship, we hope to send them out for a week to go on a job shadow. And senior experience is something that we would like for students to have a longer experience in a career field. And so those are things that you could look and listen for as the students move through their high school career. Mrs. Prosich, would you mind advancing? I'm sorry. So, oops, you could go back one. SCORE, Thrively is that one for the strengths-based program, career assessments, kind of career exploration. You will see this other platform that we use called SCORE. SCORE is going to be for the college search. So students that are looking to attend a 2-year programs, 4-year programs, SCORE is where we have them start researching. It also is going to be the platform that we use to part of the application process when students will go and request that we send their transcripts out. So that's the platform we use to communicate with the colleges on official paperwork that is on our responsibility to send. It's a very user-friendly program. We like it. This is our first year that we moved to SCORE. Students find it very interactive. The information on the colleges is quite expansive. And so we are able to start students with their college research using that program. And we like to lead into this part of the activities and clubs. I had a few questions, emails from parents regarding, what clubs and activities do you have available for the students? Do they need to sign up? So there's, a long and short answer. One of the things that we tell students, and if we look at, that the college piece of it, and we know not all students will be, attending college, and that's okay. But in order to be able to write those essays about those reflective essays at the end of their high school experience about, who are you as a person? What did you learn about yourself? How have you grown? We tell the students, we've said this to your students today, when you walk in our doors as 9th graders, we want you to be a different person in, better version of yourself, better leadership qualities, better study habits, all very well-rounded. The way that you do that is by getting involved. And we have many opportunities for students to get involved. A lot of schools are going to have the students look at, how did they grow? And to be able to speak to that is very important. And so things like academic challenge, we have student council, we have yearbook, which is actually a class. Key Club is like the Builders Club. It's a Kiwanis run program. We have foreign language clubs. Students can learn about different cultures, and hopefully they'll be able to bring in some sampling of food that they make. We also have some student-driven clubs. We always tell the kids, if there's something that you want, propose it. And, we'll help you find an advisor. Some of our students said, hey, a lot of us find, the parks around Kirtland and in the neighboring communities, and we like to go hiking. Can we do a take a hike club? And we said, sure. And so they do. They will meet. They'll say, we're meeting at Penn Glen. They'll go for a 5-mile hike. They've gone to Fairport Harbor and have done kayaking. And that was all student driven. And there are some clubs such as the National Honor Society. That is one that students are invited to based on their academic performance. It does require a certain number of service hours. It's actually 40 to be for the application process. There is an evaluation process, and students are chosen, they're inducted into National Honor Society. So we have United Way Club, a lot of service, but also a lot of fun activities, something for everyone. And we tell the students, if you don't see it, let us know and we'll help you get that started. So, and backing up, you know, we always talk about the social emotional. It is so important. In I know the counselors and the principals, we really work to get kids connected. The more they are connected, the tendency is for them to feel more a part of our school community and to flourish. And so we want kids to be a part of our community. And this is, you know, one of those avenues. And it's not all sports, although we do have those as well. The next slide. Some of our athletics that we have similar to what is in middle school. Fall sports include cheerleading and cross country, football, soccer, obviously volleyball. And the winter sports are, you know, basketball, swimming, wrestling, gymnastics. We do have track and baseball, softball, tennis in the spring. Band and choir are also a part of that. Students that are in band in the high school are a part of marching band. That's not separate. So when students are in band, they are a part of marching band. And we have, if you see this, what is club lacrosse? It's not actually a varsity sport, but they do play some other schools in games. We do have in the high school a phys ed requirement. Students that participate in 2 seasons of a sport or band, marching band, are able to waive the PE, the physical education requirement. And so suppose a student says, okay, I'm going to be you know, involved in cross country in the fall, and my sophomore year, I'm going to, you know, swim. Well, that's 2 seasons. Or if and they fulfilled their PE requirement. If a student says, okay, I'm going to play football in the fall, and in the spring, I'm going to play baseball. There's 2 seasons of a sport. Freshman year, they have fulfilled their requirement. So it's not 2 seasons every year. It's just 2 seasons overall within their 4 years. Or 2 seasons of marching band, being involved in band. Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Laverty. So we're going to talk now a little bit about the graduation requirements for your students. We still refer to them as the new graduation requirements because they are new to us in the high school. They do begin with the class of 2023. So that would be the current sophomores. And there's a lot of information to dissect when going through these new graduation requirements. However, we are confident that the transition to these requirements is much more inclusive for all students to find many different avenues towards achieving those requirements for graduation by the time they are in 12th grade. So we were telling the students in class today too that a lot of information is going to be shared with you guys over the next, this presentation and over the next year or so. And we definitely don't necessarily need you guys to memorize it all. That's what we're here for. We're here to support our students and their families to make sure that everything is in order and that we answer any questions that you might have. So it is not out of the norm for you to maybe walk away with some questions today, or maybe still have some uncertainty about these requirements, but please rest assured that we are happy to answer any of those questions and that we will 100% be working with the families throughout the high school years to make sure everything is in place.
Yes, we don't expect for this is so that you know upfront what is expected, but along the way, at the high school level, we are continually checking that students are in the correct path and on target for hitting all of these different avenues. And so, that's our job. And for you to help support that is just what we need for you to understand a little bit of this.
And so just real quick, a couple things I want to point out is that we will be sending out an email with this, not only this recording of this presentation, but also the PowerPoint slides themselves. And embedded into this PowerPoint, you will see multiple links that will take you to the original documents that we might be referring to. So you will be able to access them anytime. This being a really good resource, this is what the Ohio Department of Education developed, kind of a one-stop shop graphic, so you can see clearly what the different requirements are for graduation, and it's nice and it's clearly spelled out for you. It is small though, so I'm going to go over each of the criteria on different slides, but just know this is linked to the slides, and you can refer to it at any time once this is sent out to you. So this is the nice beginning breakdown. There are essentially 3 different steps that students have to complete in order to reach that graduation milestone. And the first one is probably the most straightforward, and it is simply to complete the required courses and credits that we have set up for graduation, which we will go discuss in just 1 minute. The second step is to complete, it's the competency step. So it is completing the end of course exams for Algebra 1 and ELA 2. Again, we will go more in depth on that in a minute. And the final one is to earn your diploma seals. There are 12 seals from the state of Ohio, and students need to earn at least 2. Again, we will go into more detail in a minute. So the first step is to complete the high school requirements. This graphic will show you exactly what students need to earn to graduate from Kirtland High School. The Ohio Department of Education sets minimum requirements to graduate, and high schools, school districts around the state are able to supplement those requirements with additional requirements as they see fit. So the state of Ohio does require 20 graduation credits, but we do have the time of the day in our schedule for students to take more. So we do have students required to take 22 credits, which means that they need to average 5.5 credits a year in order to have enough to graduate. And we typically have absolutely no problem with students meeting that requirement. Most of our students exceed that 22 credit requirement than not. So as you can see here, and again, I just want to point out there is a link to the full program. One of the students today asked what the little notes were connected to each of these, and that basically just explains their footnotes that explain exactly what types of classes make up these credits. And again, all of that can be accessed if you follow the link that is embedded into this screen. So all students need to take 4 units of English. They need to take a half a credit of health, 4 units of math, a half a credit of PE, 3 credits of science, 3 credits of social studies, and then 7 additional electives to make up the total credits of 22. In addition to those credit requirements, students do need to complete a junior internship during 11th grade. And during this internship, it's really something that is unique to us, and we're grateful that we're able to offer this to the students. It gives them a chance to go and shadow somebody in a career field that is interesting to them. So at the end of their junior year, they spend the last 3 days shadowing somebody that they find interesting. And then in addition to that, all students need 16 community service hours. Every student needs to complete 16 hours before graduation. And we tell the students that they are able to start gathering those hours the minute they walk out of the doors from 8th grade. So all summer, next summer, when they are finished with 8th grade, they can start accumulating those hours. And I'm just gonna say really quick that I apologize that the chat box is not activated at this moment. And so if you have questions, please don't hesitate to just speak up, or you can email us, and we're happy to answer your questions. I apologize for that. So this right here, I'm sorry, let's go backwards. So this is step number 1 for graduation, completing these requirements. Step 2 is the demonstrating the competency on the Algebra 1 and English 2 end of course exams. So even though the graduation requirements are technically changing, the end of course exams are not going away. Those will still be administered to the students, and they will just be used in a different way. So ELA 2 and Algebra 1 will be used to show competency for this step 2. If students do not pass one or the other of those end of course exams, they do have other options that they can fulfill in order to meet this step 2 task. That could be military enlistment, that could be completion of college credit plus courses, or it could be completion of career readiness activities. And then this screen lays out what some of those career readiness activities could be. That could be completing a work keys assessment. It could be doing a pre-apprenticeship through like a construction program or an electrical program. There's many different programs available to the students if this is the pathway they choose. But these are the alternative routes to completing this step 2. A lot of students will likely complete this step by earning the end of course points. And finally, this is the newest one and potentially the most confusing because there's so much information. This is the step 3, earning the seals of readiness, the readiness diploma seals. There are 12 to choose from. 9 of them are state defined and 3 of them are locally defined. So there, and again, I won't go through each one of these in detail because you can, access the information on these slides. But for example, the science seal, a student can receive that by passing the biology end of course exam that they will still be taking. The citizenship seal is one that students can earn if they pass the government and U.S. history end of course exams. So there's many different types of seals. The Ohio Means Job Readiness Seal, a lot of our students who attend Auburn, they're set up to earn that seal because they are learning those job skills. They're learning how to be successful on a job site. So, we have seals that will be attainable by all of our students, hopefully. And we do anticipate that a lot of our students will earn far more than the 2 required to graduate. So the 3 local seals, and this is very wordy, so I'm just going to summarize it for you. So the 3 seals that were locally defined, the first one is community service. So where all of our students are required to complete 16 community service hours, a student can earn a service seal by completing 40 hours or more of community service during high school. So, for students who are heavily involved in the service groups like Key Club or United Way, this would be a really good opportunity for them to earn that service seal by doing those activities in the community.
Some of our students also have taken part in mission trips. They work like Vacation Bible School, anything that is, or they work for summer camps that are volunteer-based, anything like that. But we do tell the students that it's not just doing chores at home. So it has to be outreach. Could it be shoveling for your elderly neighbor? Sure. But typical chores at home do not count.
The next seal is the Fine and Performing Arts Seal, and this is a seal that encourages and rewards students for becoming involved in our fine and performing arts programs. So if a student completes 3 credits with a grade of C or higher, and at least in the fine and performing arts, they will be eligible to receive this seal. That one is pretty straightforward, and the fine and performing arts would include our classes like band, choir, art. We have media. We have multiple different types of classes that would allow students to obtain this seal. And finally, the student engagement seal is the last locally defined seal. And this one is designed to encourage students to do exactly what it sounds like, to become engaged in the school community, to become involved. And so if a student, so basically to earn the seal, a student would need to complete 6 activities during their whole high school career in non-academic school-sponsored programs. So that could be a sport, that could be a club, an activity, anything like that would count towards those 6 activities. However, we do only allow 4 of the 6 to be obtained through a school-sponsored sport. So we do want at least 2 of the 6 activities to be achieved through participation in some type of extracurricular club or activity, such as Key Club or National Honor Society or Art Club, something along those lines.
Math club. It's really aimed at students becoming well-rounded.
Yep. Okay. So before I move on to the honors diploma, I'm sorry. So that pretty much rounds up the new graduation requirements. So again, just to summarize, there's 3 steps. The first step is completing our Kirtland High School graduation credit requirement. The second step is to earn the end of course exam points on English 2 and Algebra 1. And the third step is to earn 2 or more of those seals. Okay, so again, it's a lot of information. We track that information, and we are working on setting up a program in Infinite Campus that will allow students and families to also monitor their where they're at in achieving those requirements. So as soon as that information is complete, we will share that with you. But regardless, Mrs. Laverty and I do carefully track where all the students are in the completion of these requirements. Okay, so in addition to the regular high school diploma, the state of Ohio does also offer an honors diploma. They actually offer multiple honors diplomas, but the academic honors diploma is the most commonly sought diploma. And so these listed on the screen now are the 8 criteria that are required, and a student must earn at least 7 of them. So we always like to stress to the students, you need at least 7 of these 8 to earn the honors diploma. So numbers 1 and 2, these are the same as students who are just going for the regular diploma. So 4 units of English, 4 units of math, those are required to graduate anyways. Number 3 is where it starts to get different. So a student needs 3 credits of science to graduate, but they need 4 for the honors diploma. So basically what that means is that a student will need to take science each of their high school years. And same thing for social studies. Instead of the 3 required for graduation, you need 4 units of social studies for the honors diploma. Number 5 relates to foreign languages. So students need to earn 3 units of 1 foreign language or 2 units of 2 separate foreign languages. So I'll give you an example. We could have a student who is in 8th grade taking French 1. If they continue and take French 2 and French 3 over the next 2 years, they will have completed that requirement for the honors diploma. However, if the student completes French 1 and then French 2, and then they decide that they want to explore Spanish as well, they can do so. And if they complete the first 2 years of Spanish, that will also qualify them for number 5 of this honors diploma requirement. Number 6 is fine arts. A student needs to earn 1 unit of fine art. So again, that's it's band, art, choir, media, classes like that. That's where, so those are the credit requirements. The grade point average, a student must obtain and achieve a 3.5 unweighted GPA in order to qualify for the honors diploma. So again, an unweighted GPA is when we take off all of the extra quality points from classes that are AP or honors and get the extra weighting into the GPA. So the unweighted GPA is really typically only used for the honors diploma. When a student looks at their transcript when they're applying for colleges or scholarships or other like apprenticeships, things like that, the weighted GPA will come into play. So this honors diploma is really one of the very few things that we use the unweighted GPA for. And then finally, number 8 is to earn a score of a 27 on the ACT or a 1280 on the SAT. So we usually tell the students, we actually ask the students for their opinion. What do they think most students kind of set aside as their possible exemption? And the answer to that is most students that we see will set aside number 8, the ACT or SAT score, just in case they potentially don't achieve that required score, because then they can still get the honors diploma. So students can they're in control of making sure that they earn that extra science credit and that extra social studies credit, and all of those different credits. So usually the ACT is the one that students kind of hold on tight, tuck it in their back pocket, and just in case they don't achieve that score, they could still access or earned the honors diploma. There are 4 additional honors diplomas. They're relatively new to the Ohio Department of Education. And like I said, we are just now starting to have a few kids start to work towards these honors diplomas. So we highly encourage the students and the families to research them, to look into the criteria, because they do take careful planning, and we're more than happy to sit down and plan for those honors diplomas. But like we said, the academic honors diploma is still currently one of the most sought after honors diplomas. Okay, so core course options. The 4 core subject areas are English, math, science, and social studies. Those are the courses that we encourage students to take every year throughout high school. And we do offer a wide variety of classes to the students in each of those subject areas. So you'll see in English, we do offer college prep courses and honors AP courses. We get questions often about what is AP. AP is short for advanced placement. Those are college level courses that students take using college level textbooks and expectations. It is often taught at a faster pace because there's more content to cover. So it is definitely geared towards students who are highly motivated in that subject area and willing to invest a little bit more time into their studies outside of the classroom. In English, we also have creative writing and speech and communication as electives. This is our first year running this class, and the students are really enjoying it. We're looking forward to continuing that throughout the years. In math, we do Algebra 2 is one of the classes that the state of Ohio requires. So once a student gets through Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, we do have a variety of classes for students to take after that. So that could be in their last year during senior year or during junior and senior year, depending on when they started math. So we do sit down with the students during their scheduling meeting each year to talk about how math went, the year prior and what their ultimate goal is after high school. And that really helps us discuss and decide what math pathway a student should take. And the teachers also give recommendations, and we really, the teachers really put a lot of thought into those recommendations based on where they think the student would be most successful. Same with science. So biology is a required course. Every student is going to take biology either in 9th or 10th grade. Once a student takes chemistry, if they do decide to take chemistry, that again is kind of the gateway science class to some of those elective and upper level science classes during 11th and 12th grade. We are excited. We do really enjoy the different classes that we're able to offer in science, genetics specifically, and anatomy and physiology. Those aren't classes that are commonly found in schools in our area, let alone schools our size. So we really are excited that we can offer those students some really unique science electives based on what interests they might have. And finally, social studies. Social studies is a little more set for students. All ninth graders take world history, no matter what. There are no different levels of world history, so that's already set for them. In 10th grade, they take US history or AP US history. And then in 11th grade, they take US government or AP US government. After they complete those requirements, they have the opportunity to explore some electives if they so choose. AP Psychology, this is the first year we're offering that, and it has, students are really enjoying that class as well. So again, we're excited to be expanding our course offerings to the students. So the students this year, the 8th grade teachers were able to provide the course recommendations for your students in Infinite Campus, and the students and families can see those course recommendations at any time, and that's actually how we will be scheduling the students as well. So in order to access the information, all you need to do is log into your Infinite Campus portal. You can do it from the parent portal or the student portal, and you will navigate to the academic plan section over on the left-hand side. And it's going to bring you to this academic plan screen. At this time, all that you need to do is click next to navigate away from this page, and it will bring you to this course planner. This particular student that is used as an example, she's a senior, so we really just kind of wanted to show you what it will look like over the years. But for this year, you guys will all just be focusing on the first column under grade 9. Each of the little tabs will have lock marks next to it, and that just means that it was the recommendation of the current teacher in that subject area. There will probably not be elective requirements because students can choose their own electives, but we will go over all of that with the students when we meet them individually. And if a student does not, or if they have questions about what they were recommended for, and we encourage the students to talk with their 8th grade teachers to get some feedback about why that recommendation was made.
It would be helpful for you to look over those before they're scheduling meetings on Friday and Monday.
Absolutely, yeah, because that will hopefully that will help you, think of some questions that you might have that hopefully we can help answer when we meet. So this is an example of a typical freshman schedule. Our schedule is exactly the same as the middle school. We have a 7-period day. And this particular student, they took their four core classes, so not necessarily in this order, but they took English, World Studies, Algebra, and then at the bottom they have their science class. All 9th graders will take health. Health is an online class in the high school, which means that we call it a flexible period of the day. So a student will have health scheduled in their day, but because it is a self-paced online class, a student is able to use that period as a study hall as long as they are on track or ahead in their health class. So the only time a student will be stopped by one of us from studying or tutoring or working with a peer during health class is if they are significantly behind on that health program. But the positive thing is that students can work on that class anywhere and at any time that they have internet access outside of their other classes. So they can, if they're a motivated student and want to get it done quicker, they can work on it over the weekend, over breaks, anything like that. And then we have speakers who come in throughout the semester to give supplemental presentations on the different health topics. And you'll notice this student, the second half of the year opposite of health, they have a study hall, and that is because they chose to waive gym. This student participates in activities and decided to waive gym. If the student did not waive gym, that is where the gym class would go in place of that study hall second half of the year. So because students look at that health class as a flexible enough period that they can use it as a study hall, they typically feel confident that they can still schedule 2 more electives. So this student scheduled Spanish 1 and band to fill out their schedule. So even though it looks like the first half of the year there is no study hall, they do have that flexible health class, which for most of our students is more than enough time to get the work done that they have for the day.
I just wanted to mention about the speakers in health, because I did have a question from a parent, like, what speakers are you bringing in? Some are similar to what the students have in the middle school. We do have Life Act, suicide intervention and prevention, some other mental health care speakers. Students will learn CPR. We also have someone that talks about healthy relationships. So they run like a wide variety of health topics, and they are scheduled into the student's day. And so they have time that they will be scheduled, and they don't necessarily, it's not on their own time. That's during the day.
Right. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Again, please feel free to unmute and jump in with a question if you have any. Mrs. Laverty, do you want to talk about this?
Sure, I can. So a lot of students ask us, and parents, what do I do for my students? What do I make sure that they are college ready, that they have, their application will be looked at by these schools. So although foreign language is not a requirement to graduate from Kirtland High School, there are many four-year schools that do look for at least 2 years of a foreign language. And as Mrs. Prosuch mentioned before, students that want to earn the honors diploma and work towards that, it's 3 years of the foreign language. And if your student is enrolled in Spanish or French 1 currently, that is one of the years that will count for their high school credits, and the colleges do look at that. And so although Kirtland High School requires 3 years of science and 3 years of social studies, we do recommend that students that are college bound take that extra year of science and social studies. Oftentimes our students will take more. If your student may maybe English language arts, they're not so strong in, but they really enjoy math. Well, you take your 4 years of English, and maybe the math is where you want to, say, okay, I know I have to take my 4, but maybe one of the years I want to take an extra math class as well. We have those availabilities from what you saw, on the screen earlier with what we offer. So taking a solid 4 years of each of those core subjects is definitely recommended. Again, it's that well-roundedness. Schools now more than ever are looking for students that are well-rounded and that have participated in their community, because they want to know, how is your student going to impact the college community? What difference are they going to make? And that's very important. The other thing is the grade point average. It is much easier for students to start off strong and maintain. I wish we didn't have so many students, but we have handfuls of students every year that say, oh, Mrs. Laverty, Mrs. Prosuch, I really wish that I would have freshman year buckled down and built my GPA and started off a lot higher than I am right now. Because once you get that GPA established at the end of a freshman year, if it's not where the students want for it to be, it does take quite some effort to get the GPA back up to where they want it as those classes start, adding into the average. So important to start off strong. We talked about the students, we talked to the students today about, yes, having, online schooling, coronavirus, this has impacted everyone. But now, like, really looking at, okay, how did that reflect on me as a student? Where can I grow? So that you really start looking at those habits now and working on them now at the end of 8th grade, so that moving into high school, they're starting off with some good habits. We also talk about, being responsible in the classroom, being a responsible learner, and that is impressing your teachers. Being, on time for class, being respectful. We tell the students these are the same, people that will be writing your recommendations. And for jobs, we have so many students now that have graduated from from college, and now they're looking to go into different career fields or graduate school. And again, they come back to ask us for recommendations. So it's not just that initial college recommendation. You look at the well-rounded picture of a student. And one of the other things that we always get asked is in terms of coursework and its rigor. And so they want to make sure that students have taken a rigorous course load. And so kind of looking at that honors diploma and deciding if that is something that would be worthwhile for your student is definitely a benefit.
And that is a great point, Mrs. Laverty. A lot of times we get asked, what is the point of the honors diploma? What does that do? And the honors diploma really is just designed by the state of Ohio to encourage students to access some of those more challenging and college preparatory classes, to go above and beyond those minimum graduation requirements, because the colleges do really look to see, they look and see what classes we offer, what kind of challenging courses that we have available at our school, which we are very lucky, especially for our size, that we offer a great deal of challenging courses. And so they will compare that then to what the classes are that the students have taken throughout the years, and that helps them to determine the type of rigor the students have access. So that's really the main goal of the honors diplomas.
We always, tell the students, because we get this question often, and we go back to our friend that is our Ohio State representative, because so many students from our school do like to apply to Ohio State. And, he said, word for word, kind of, we look for students that maximize their academic potential at their high school. And so just keeping that in the back of your mind is important.
I got a question through email. So again, you guys, please feel free to email us if you have any questions. But I'm going to go back to, let's see if I can get back there. To can my student take band and art? The answer to that is yes. But if the student plans to take a foreign language, then they would have to choose one or the other, because we do have to fit health in there. So if a foreign language is definitely a yes, that it has to happen in the schedule, then ultimately the student would have to choose between band and art just for 9th grade. In 10th grade, when health is not a requirement, it does open a little bit more space for the students to explore more options. That's a good question.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
With like the community service aspect of the program,
Mm-hmm.
Would you recommend that the student come and meet with you prior to like starting like community service credits and stuff? Is there like an approval process that needs to be vetted prior?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, we are, our biggest goal with the community service is to just give the kids an opportunity, number one, to perform services in their community. And number two, that we really find that it helps students work on those soft skills, making those phone calls, making those connections, setting up the service opportunities. We are open-minded to what those service opportunities could look like. And we definitely do encourage, if a student is not sure if something would count, definitely reach out to us. We are happy to go over it and just confirm that it is acceptable. The biggest things that we tell students to avoid would be anything that they're getting paid for. If they're getting paid for something, then we don't consider it a community service opportunity. And and essentially something that is for mom and dad, mom or dad, or an immediate family member. An activity for that person is typically not accepted. Now, if what we get a lot is my mom works in this company and they are asking me to come and do these activities, that's fine. If you're working on, if you're being supervised by somebody else within that department or somebody else in the business or the environment, then that's totally acceptable. But again, if a student is unsure and they want it to be approved just to make sure they're not wasting those hours, then 100% we encourage them to come and talk to us about it. And if a student is unsure where to get those hours, if they have no idea where to even start, then we also tell them to come and talk with us too, because we definitely have places that we can refer them to. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We do talk about different ways that we connect with the students. Right now, social media wise, Twitter is our biggest platform. We're trying to expand with the students, but sometimes it's not, we're not as quick to getting on those platforms as the students are. So we definitely tell the students, and we've been stressing to them when we've been presenting to them, is to get in the habit of checking their school emails. We communicate with the students through email very often. And so especially once they're in the high school, we try and encourage them to get in the habit of checking it at least once a day, if not at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, because there's a lot of information that is sent out in that platform. So that's something that hopefully you guys can help us remind your students at home, did you check your email today? Make sure everything is cleared out of that inbox.
I have one more question.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
No, please.
So you had mentioned, and I forgot the name of the tool, my apologies, at the beginning about going to, like, it has aggregated the college information.
Oh, SCORE. Mm-hmm.
Oh, SCORE, that's it. Is that like equivalent to Naviance? I'm kind of familiar with that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you guys would give us like an account information and login and stuff. We get that through the school.
Exactly. And we so far have only rolled it out to seniors because it was used for their college applications. We are currently in the process of rolling it out to juniors and then sophomores, hopefully very soon. And with that rollout does that includes invitations to parents so they can log in and check in to see what their students are doing. It is very similar to Naviance in the college side of things. We strongly prefer SCORE to Naviance just because it is a very user-friendly interface. It's much more engaging, and it seems like it provides very more accurate data in the SCORE program. So a cool thing about a parent using SCORE, they can go in and they could recommend a college to their student. It shows up on their search screen.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's a really neat way for parents to be involved in that college research process.
And it has a very much so a social media feel. And so the kids seem to like it. On the college search, it will pull up these boards that have a bunch of postings of what's going on campus of, like say Ohio, like OU. And students are able to see, what could I possibly get involved in, research-wise, activity-wise, that's going on. So the students seem to like it. And I think the parents have found it pretty user-friendly as well. But we will be rolling that out, Kath, soon to juniors and then to sophomores.
Great, thanks.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Knack, did you say something?
Oh yeah, I say great, thanks. I'm done with questions.
Okay,
I'm getting punched in the arm right now.
Oh, no worries. I'm sure you're not the only one with the question, so we appreciate it. Thank you. And so at this point, when we're presenting to the students, we usually ask them, if they have any concerns or questions or fears or anything that they need clarification on when it comes to transitioning to the high school. So at this point, I would love to open it up to any questions that you guys might have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. That way we can discuss anything face to face if you have questions. And again, I apologize for the chat. I'm not, it's my own. I'm not quite sure how to engage it once I'm in the Zoom meeting. That's my lack of tech ability right there. Okay, well, we'll stick around for a couple minutes. If anyone wants to stick around and ask questions, we'll be here. Otherwise, Mrs. Laverty and I are both available through email. Don't hesitate ever to email us. And just a reminder that in the email that was sent to you guys, you have access to the program of studies that goes through all of the descriptions of the courses and also the course selection guide. So when the students do meet with us on Friday and Monday, they can have a little bit of an idea of what they might want to talk about. Okay, thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful night. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Anytime students, we always say we have an open door policy at, you know, in our office. You know, there are a lot of bigger schools where students have to make appointments with the counselors. And yes, sometimes we're busy, but we do, we try as well. I know Mr. Bell does as well in the middle school. We try to be available whenever the students need us. So students are, you know, welcome to stop in.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you spending your evening with us, and please reach out if you have any questions. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.